Well, I think we should get started, and undoubtedly more people will sign on as we go. I want to welcome everybody to the February general meeting of the Greater Pine Island Civic Association. And as we begin, let us acknowledge that we live on the traditional lands of the Calusa people who were forced from their homeland in the early 1700s. The aim of the GPICA is to preserve the land from overdevelopment, ecosystem destruction, and despoiling of its waters, while honoring the legacy of the Calusa, who lived on Pine Island and throughout Southwest Florida for almost 2,000 years. We're going to start with the treasurer's report, and I can share my screen. Find that. Here it is. Okay, Mike.
Okay, great. So this is for the month of January that just passed. The money market gained a few pennies. It's 16,761.58 right now. The checking, we gained some money. We also lost some money. We gained it because of memberships. The program that Nadine developed was just fantastic, and for terms of allowing people to electronically transfer the money in. And so we have $3,807.68. And then for the CD, 76,347.61. The CD is going to roll over again in about 3 more months, or we'll decide what to do with it, but probably roll it over. So the January money in was 62.20, and that was basically electronic membership dues. That's why it's a weird number, 62.20.
Actually, Mike,
yes.
What it shows on the screen is $45.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I updated that this afternoon, so
okay.
That's fine. But that's fine. That was the $45 that I actually put in that Nadine gave me this morning. Nadine gave me $45. It was 2 different membership checks, one for 20, one for 25.
Okay, so it's 62.20. I've just put that in.
Yeah, 62.20.
Okay. Right.
And then the money out was $62. That's why it worked out to be very little of much of a change. $62, and that was because I paid the post office box for the full year. So we will be good for the full year for the USPS post office box in at the Gold House there, or right next to the Gold House.
Okay, in Pineland.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any questions or comments about the treasurer's report?
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
Thanks, Nadine. Is there a second?
A second.
That was Connie. Thank you,
Yes,
Connie.
it was.
Are there any questions or any discussion? I need to speak up because I can't see everybody at once. Okay, is there anybody opposed to accepting this report? Speak up now. All right, we accept the January treasurer's report. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I would like to introduce our 2 newest board members, only one of whom you can actually see on the screen, and that is Connie D'alessio. Connie has a degree in business administration and management and has spent 23 years in information systems. She was a Girl Scout leader for 12 years, a PTA president, and along with her dog, Fred, a certified therapy dog team for pet partners and angels on a leash. Welcome, Connie. And the second board member I'd like to introduce, you can't see her photo, but this is Cindy Bear. Cindy is a 5th generation Florida native who has been the coordinator and then the co-director of the Randall Research Center for 11 years. Previously, she was a teacher of environmental education with degrees in wildlife ecology and science education. She has also spent 20 years on the Lee County Bald Eagle Technical Advisory Committee. Welcome, Cindy. Thank you both for agreeing to serve on the GPICA board. And at the same time, I would like to thank, I'm sure we all would like to thank Debbie Memley for her long service on the GPICA board. Deb has decided not to run again as she has increased responsibilities to family that must come first. She hopes to rejoin the board sometime in the future. So Nadine will now explain how we're going to handle elections online, which is going to be very different from any other time that we've done it. So Nadine, go ahead.
Actually, it's pretty simple. Typically, our elections take place in February, but this year the board voted to postpone it for a month so we could figure out how we could do voting. It's a little awkward during Zoom meetings to try and get everybody to vote for or against or whatever. And so what we decided to do was to send out an online form. It'll be an online ballot that people can use to vote. First of all, though, we need to see if there are any nominations from the floor. So you're welcome to make a nomination tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm also going to send out a nomination form. So if you want to nominate yourself or there's another GPICA member you'd like to nominate and you have their permission to nominate them, you can just fill out that form and send it to us. And then come about February 18th, I'll send out a ballot to all current GPICA members. You have to be current in your dues. And so we're sending out notices this week as well to remind you to pay. So if you want to vote, you need to make sure that your dues are current and updated. So let me ask, are there any nominations from the floor? If so, you can type them in the chat. Or you can email us at info@gpica.org and we'll add them to the ballot as long as they're members in good standing. Other than that, are there any questions?
Okay. Seeing
Okay.
none. Thank you, Nadine. This sounds remarkably simple, but actually it was remarkably complicated to get to this very place. So thank you, Nadine and Sherry, for all your help in trying to figure out how we were going to do this online. Now, in March, we assume, and I assume, that the coronavirus is going to cooperate with us and fade away largely by our March meeting. Our March meeting will definitely be held in person. We're not sure exactly where it will be. We're hoping it will be at the Methodist Church in that large sanctuary room. There will be 3 requests for variances to be addressed in this public information session. So it's really going to be almost entirely a public information session. You may remember the Conservation Foundation, who has been trying valiantly to have a public information session for months, and we are hoping that finally this will be able to be held to their satisfaction. So they have 2 separate requests, and one of them is a variance for the site across from the Flamingo Bay development that they brought to us partially before. And the other one is a small deviation for a lawn and garden center on Stringfellow in St. James City. In addition to that, Stokes Marine has 1 request, and that has to do with a dock in Matlacha. So more information about all of these requests will be coming to you in due time, shortly.
Helen, I just want to clarify that the variance about the parking, that's not a Conservation Foundation variance request. It's the same engineering company, but I believe it's a different business owner.
Okay, that was unclear to me. All right, so the Conservation Foundation just has the site across from the Flamingo Bay development. Then there's the small request for a different kind of parking lot for a lawn garden center, and that comes from a different business. That's not the Conservation Foundation. Okay, thanks, Nadine. Any questions, comments about? Yeah, Jeff.
Helen, some of us have sent questions, however far back this goes. And I just want to make sure that they are going to address those questions rather than having to, re-raise them in the context of the public meeting. It'd be much more efficient if they could just address them as a, prescripted presentation.
That is a good point, Jeff. I have a feeling that they will have their canned presentation that they are required to give with because they do have a PowerPoint and all that. But we should, Nadine, that'll be possible, right?
We did send them a list of all the questions that had come in, Jeff, from you and other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And Veronica, the representative we've been dealing with, said she was working on them, but I never have gotten like a printed response to that or any kind of emailed response. So thank you for reminding us, and I will resend that and try to get them to make sure. I can't ensure it 100%,
Sure.
but what, I can also bring a printout to the meeting and I can raise those questions as well.
Good. Okay, thanks, Nadine.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. So our featured speaker tonight is John Cassani, who we've invited to help us understand and sort out the clean water issues around Greater Pine Island. As you know, the GPICA has been working on the problem of old and leaking septic tanks on Pine Island and the need for a modern but affordable sewage system, which would help clean up our island's contribution to the pollution problem. But while we were concentrating on the local, John has a broader knowledge of the reasons that our waters are being polluted and what we need to do about the issue. So John Cassani has worked as a resource manager for local government, managing waterways of Southwest Florida. He's worked on advisory boards of many Southwest Florida organizations, including the Florida Audubon Society, the Estero Bay Agency on Bay Management, the Everglades Coalition, and many others. In November of 2016, John accepted the position of Calusa Waterkeeper, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the protection of the Caloosahatchee River and estuary, Lake Okeechobee, Nicodemus Slough, Charlotte Harbor, Estero Bay, and the nearshore waters of Lee County and their watersheds. So that's a good background. John, we can sort of half your face is in the dark, and I wonder if you can either turn toward your light or get your light a little bit more in your face.
Yeah, I'm kind of in my bat cave tonight, so
that looks better.
Sometimes known as the man cave, but
You're in the man cave.
but that's probably the best I can do.
Okay, I have a question. Before you even start, I want to ask Nadine, if I pin John's video, does that mean he will come up as a large picture on the screen when he's talking?
You can try it.
Okay, I'm going to try it. There you are. Does everybody see John? Large face of John.
People might individually have to change their personal views to speaker view.
Okay.
That way, whoever's currently speaking will be the main visual.
Yeah. Okay. Without further ado,